Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Seth Green just texted me.
Yeah.
You guys know I know him?
Maybe.
I'm going to take a picture of you guys and tell them where I am. Okay, cool. All right, dig it.
He's like, I got you.
Shit, I hit retake instead of use photo. Okay. Okay.
How are you enjoying the con?
I'm good. Shoot, the phone. Here is where I is. There we go. Hi. Sorry, guys.
How's
it
it
going?
feel to walk in a room and have people just spontaneously applaud?
I just think they were just so bored of looking at each other. They were just excited it was fresh meat.
So I have a lazy question for you.
It's lazy?
It's a lazy question.
Okay.
But I'm going
I have a lazy answer for you. Go ahead.
I feel like you guys have desecrated every single pop culture icon possible. You've done every single sexual assault show known to woman.
Sounds accurate.
What else really is there that you guys can do in Robot Chicken, or where else can you go with it?
First of all, I don't think that was lazy at all. I think it was well said, it was well thought out, and it had big words in it, too.
Right.
Like desecrated. What else can we do? We're still waiting to find out. You know, we're going to start writing in, I think, January for the new season. You know, the good thing is with our show, they keep making new fun products out there and properties. You know, Guardians of the Galaxy is now, it was one of my favorite movies this year. So the minute it started, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to do this on RC. I can't wait to play with this, and I can't wait to hopefully get Chris to come in and do a voice, and get Bradley and all those people. We could probably do Vin's voice, but it'd be cool if he came in and did it. So they keep making new fun things for us to goof with. So luckily, they're all doing the work. We just have to watch.
So when you guys are coming up with these little skits, is this going to be scripted, or is this you guys just improvising because you guys are also
Some stuff comes, you know, we have a normal writer's room like any other show, and you submit your submissions, your skit ideas, but then there are certain things that come out of the room, like a lot of the Boba Fett stuff. I'm lazy, so I don't like writing. So my stuff usually comes out of the room. We did, like Boba Fett, the Lindsay Lohan stuff. King Randor, who was He-Man's dad, came, which is a couple of my favorite skits are with King Randor, started because I was bored and there was a King Randor toy next to my laptop, and I was just really pissing off, I think it was Doug Goldstein, our head writer. And I would literally, I mean, it's like, that's how the show is I would just walk King Randor over and go, hey, what are you doing? You're working, never mind. And I would then bring him back and be like, you still up? You're working, my bad. Anyway, and he'd walk away. And it became, I don't know what hair this is, but I'm going to move it. Now I need Purell. But it came out, so some of the skits come out of that. Because the whole thing, selfishly for me, my whole goal at Robot Chicken, if I'm writing, is to make Sethy laugh. If I'm recording, it's to make Sethy laugh in the square glass booth I can see him in when he's recording when he's directing me. But that's how the show started. It was making each other laugh with action figures, you know. So some of it's, you know, improving in the booth is Improving in the booth is really fun, and when we get
lying about everything.
Improving in the booth is not fun. But when we get actors to come in, you know, now it's unbelievable the list of people we've had on our show. But like, you get Scarlett Johansson to come in, and she's down to riff in the booth, and I keep saying booth, booth and play. It's great. It's so much fun, and the people we get seem to have a good time because they get to kind of take the piss out of whatever they've been doing for the last 3 years.
Has there been any?
All your Loveberry fans, when we're going to get a reunion album.
Man, I really hope we do. That and Du Jour are the two things I want to get reunion albums going for. So hopefully soon. I just noticed I had a bite on my finger, and because we're at Comic-Con, my first thought was maybe it's a radioactive spider. And then, so if, by the way, I start having superpowers...
You have witnesses.
Yeah. Or I die. Witnesses again, by the way, yeah.
So I want to ask, with the great success of the show and
Yeah.
how you've been able to capitalize on basically everything going on in the world and the industry,
Yeah.
what inspiration, I guess, can you give to people who can do what you do by basically picking up an action figure, creating.
Yeah.
Well, what advice can you give to people who have that type of talent going forward?
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I have a friend who's here, and I'm so scared that she's going to get lost. So I'm totally going to answer that in 1 second, as I literally do just this, and then I'm here. Hi. Sorry.
Hi.
You were saying, what would I give advice to someone who wants to do kind of what we do?
Everything.
The amazing thing now with this whole interweb is that you can do it. You can put it up on, I mean, literally with just this, you can do probably better than our pilots are for Robot Chicken, honestly. This all started because Sethi was going to go on. He's going to be so pissed that I keep calling him Sethi. It drives him mental. And he's said numerous times, hey, by the way, thanks for saying Sethi in public, because it's what I call him. So, y'all, Sethi. But Robot Chicken started because Seth was going to go on Conan and had nothing to talk about. So he was like, let's do a funny skit. And that's what started this thing called Junk in the Trunk we started, which was called Sweet J Presents Junk in the Trunk. And then he said, I'm going to go run with this. And then he called me, 6 months later. He's like, hey, I sold a show about it. So I think right now, more than ever, it's easy to do that. If you have a fun idea and you want to present it to people, you can. You can put together just a sizzle reel. Next thing you know, you got either a show or a ton of rejection, or both. But now we're doing this collaboration with Vimeo where we're actually teaching, we're doing these stop motion classes online for people to learn how to do stop motion, which is a tedious process. And I don't want to learn how to do it, so yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Yes.
Who are some of the actors that you would like to have
on the show? On Robot Chicken? Michael Keaton, just for me, because I'm a giant fan of Michael.
Batman, Superman.
Batman would be pretty awesome. We've gotten lucky. My wish list has kind of been filled. I had J.K. Simmons was one of my all-time my gets for an Oz sketch we did. We got J.K. Simmons, and I don't know who Sethi's or Matt's would be, but we're getting lucky. I was saying they did we have Guardians of the Galaxy stuff I want to write, and hopefully we get them. Anytime you do the actual property, anytime you do the property, your first thing is I really hope we can get the actual person. My favorite document we have in the office is the official offer thing we had to send to Harrison Ford's agent when we first did the Star Wars skits, where we said we'd like to offer the role of Han Solo to Harrison Ford. He passed. I don't know if he's ever seen it, but we had to send out an official offer sheet to Harrison Ford. But we always try to get the people who actually do, we actually always try to get the person for most of it, I think.
Do you run into difficulties in terms of I know you did the Star Wars special, the DC special. Do you get a lot of feedback from Lucasfilm or Marvel?
No, we were really afraid when we first did. I wrote the Emperor sketch, which was our first Star Wars thing, and when I wrote it, they said, Sethi and Matt were like, they're litigious. Lucas is not known for not suing people, and so Lucasfilm and Disney were the two things we know you got to be careful with. You have to be able to prove parody and all this stuff. And when we heard it was being passed around Lucasfilm and people really liked it, because it wasn't like a mean skit. It was actually, you can't watch the skit and think these kids don't love Star Wars. That was kind of the first time where it was like, oh, all right, so they see that we're embracing them and we're writing it from a fan point of view. When that got embraced, we were kind of like, all right, we can mess with everybody now, hopefully. And some people get mad, but, it's not the end of the day.
One more question.
Yeah.
How are you able to get Fox News in the title and not be sued about that?
That's a great question. I don't know. We might get sued. Fingers crossed. All right, thank you guys very much.
Walk this way.
Okay.
Are they here? I've heard about those people. What's happening today?
Doing good. Awesome.
awesome so far. Yeah, it's New York. That's everything you need to know. I know. There is nowhere better.
Except Philly, but yeah. What?
No, we own the Big Apple.
That's right. Yes. So who wants to start?
I'll start. One thing about Robot Chicken, it's like somebody reached into my childhood and pulled all the cartoons I watched.
And all your toys.
And all the toys. And put them on screen. I want to know, is there any cartoon toy actually that you haven't visited yet that you want to visit later? Is there
Breckin and I were actually just talking about this, about how we haven't touched on like Ben 10. It's like, it's trying to find like some of the newer stuff that we gotta, goof around with. What do we do?
What I think with the Star Wars stuff, we've never played with the Star Wars Kenner toys.
Yes, we have.
One episode. Three-quarter ones.
The old school three-quarter? Oh, man.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Okay. All right, that's fair.
That's our challenge, season 8.
Okay.
So have any of your artists rebelled? Just basically said, no, I cannot show Beastman, sexually assaulting Tila or anything like that. That is my childhood and that is
I like
sacred.
that's where you go to, though.
Yeah.
I feel like there must be absolutely Batman there.
Yeah, every once in a while there's an animator that might be a little sensitive towards something, but for the most part everyone rolls with it. But every once in a while.
We're all twisted in some way.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
You collect the damaged Mr. Toys.
It's a job, you clock in, move the puppet, clock out.
So there's no button you won't push.
We're good at self-monitoring ourselves, but we're also TVMA, so it's that careful balance between the two. There's definitely limits for ourselves, but it's when you sit in a room with all your friends and you're laughing about things, you're like, shoot, those moments where you're like, oh, that's too far. Everybody has those. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of the 80s, what was your favorite TV show growing up?
Growing up, TV show.
Just one show, Matt.
TV show. I'd probably say Transformers. Although I was gonna say G.I. Joe, but it goes back and forth. But I was more. I'm a huge Star Wars fanatic, but that's not TV. But that's my 80s.
I would say mine was DuckTales. I was really into DuckTales. So. DuckTales, yeah.
When you guys are coming up with new skits, how many people have to get a yes vote in the writers' room first to go?
How many yes votes?
Yeah.
So we have a writer's room. There are 4 people who started the show. It's myself, Seth, our 2 head writers, Tom and Doug. We all get votes, and then we have 4 other writers that are in the room with us who do not get votes, and they hate us, and it needs to be a 3-to-1 for it to go into the show. Okay. It's a grueling process, and a lot of writers hate us.
What's like the rejection rate?
I would say 90 to 95%. Yeah, it's pretty awful. That room is not a fun place to be in. People are always like, this would be the greatest thing ever. I didn't do it. What? I said 90% of your stuff is awesome.
Rewind the tape.
You can go back and look. 90%. I said 90.
So what's an example of something you rejected that just didn't get past the...
Everything Breckin does now.
It's going to get ugly.
There's so many intricate details that it takes to bring this to life. What kind of a skill set does one need coming into this to really...
It depends which department they're working in.
There's so many different departments.
Animators...
Information about, your backgrounds and how you really got into this.
Sure.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, well, for myself specifically, for a lot of stop motion artists, they're not only filmmakers, but they're also artists. They can make puppets, they can make sets, they can light their stuff, they can move it around. So a lot of the artists we have in the studio they're kind of a one-man band that have joined a big team. So it's kind of, if you think of it like that, does that make sense? One-man band that can join a big team. So they all have skills to do. They can make a stop motion film, but they step back and they work on either animating or making a puppet or lighting or something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. A lot of work.
How long does it take generally to put a full episode together, just based on the...
I use our Star Wars special as an example. So we started from writing to completion. It was about 16 weeks. But for an episode, we shoot multiple episodes at the same time. It's about 14 months to do a season of 20 episodes.
14 months out of the year.
Out of the year. That's right. That's why we're in year 10 and only season 7. Takes a while.
And so, out of all the guests that you guys have had, is there one particular guest that you guys are looking forward to snag for the season?
personality, like To Get, or
Yes,
that was
To
our
Get.
favorite?
Yeah.
Okay. To Get, I always want Harrison Ford. We've gone out to him every season. He's always very busy. I will continue to go out to him, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, we got to get him this season, right? This is getting sad.
So do you guys have a favorite guest that you guys...
I've always had, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of those types of moments where you're like, this is the greatest experience of my life when interacting. For me, it was Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise came in together, and I'm just a huge Cannonball Run fan, and watching the two of them interact exactly how they were on screen, and how you could see their long friendship just come to life in front of you. It was just unbelievable for me. Yeah, I was trying not to geek out too much.
That's good.
Yeah.
What advice can you guys give to people like you, like you said, such unique skill sets to bring their passions to a career state?
The best thing I can say is everybody has these wonderful devices on them that can actually make movies now and make stuff, post stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just
do it.
create
Like,
things.
if we had that when we were kids, I mean, we had VHS recorders if we were lucky, and trying to edit something on VHS tapes was impossible. Now you could do it on your phone. Like, make stuff and get it out there, and if
Yeah,
it's
that's
there.
the thing too. Is when we were kids, obviously we couldn't show people things. It's like you can't get it out there. So now you make something, put it on YouTube, and then just keep making stuff.
instant.
Keep sending it out there.
Yeah. So yeah, no one has an excuse now. Yeah.
No excuses.
Yep.
I asked Breckin this, but I'm just wondering, how did you guys get away with putting Fox News in the title? He said he did not know. I'm going to pop it over to you.
That's a good question. Legal?
I think because the episode title is that long that when you look it on the DVR, that part will maybe get cut off.
So maybe no one will know.
Okay. So are you
You're the only one that's caught it so far?
are you just slightly enraged within Fox News to come back after you guys?
It might be pro or negative. You just don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No judging.
Yeah, exactly.
No judging.
Are we going to see more Robot Chicken toys?
Possibly. We actually just started working with a company called Branberry for our licensing, and there'll be a lot of things that are going to be happening probably within the next year. So yeah, we're really excited about that. But yeah, if you look up Branberry, you'll see a lot of the stuff that they've done and are going to be doing.
I really like my robot and washing machine.
Good.
The wind-up one? Yes, that's
a good one.
a fun one. I really enjoy. I think she wants to ask a question, but she's afraid to ask herself.
And I couldn't hear her.
No, just okay. You ask.
I was going to say, are there any shows that you're going to be hooking up with here at Comic-Con and working with them? Any actors here?
Any actors like hooking up with maybe? I guess this is that moment where you see all these people and you're like, hey, it's good to see you. Oh, you want to do the show? That's awesome. Like, we were actually just talking, we're like, oh my god, we never had Kevin Smith on the show. I was like, how have we not done that? Like, I don't understand. We see him at every one of these things. We're like, we should bring him in. But yeah, you just never know. Like, we ran into Sarah Chalk and like, I was like, how are you doing? And she did the show and I'm like, we got to bring you back.
You should have asked George Clooney.
I should have asked George
Saw him
Clooney.
yesterday.
We saw George Clooney yesterday. He
We
shook our
froze.
hands.
But pleased to meet you.
He gave Seth one of those bro hugs. I'm like, you are so cool. You should be president. It was one of those things.
Seth or George?
George, no, not Seth. That should not be president.
What? He'd be great.
Hey, I love that you guys do Filmation, which destroys my favorite Christmas specials, and I can't remember, have you done Robot Chicken cartoon in the past, or would you do a Robot Chicken cartoon?
Like 2D?
Yeah, 2D or a 2D, 3D cartoon. But
Like-
just not do claymation, but just
Sure.
Oh yeah, I mean we just did a pilot for Adult Swim called Team Unicorn, which is 2D. We have a CG thing that's in pilot phase at another place. We have a lot of pilots that are in different types of animation. We don't categorize ourselves by the type of animation we do. It's more the sense of humor that we do.
One more question.
Have you brought in any guest actors that didn't know what they were getting themselves into?
Yes.
All of them.
Breckin Myer. No, we've brought in a bunch of people. Yeah, I don't think anybody knows what they're getting into when they do it, but it's been a good roster of people, and again, I'm still amazed that they always want to come back. So
Were
yeah.
there any that you did not like?
Did not like? I will
Can you say?
say one,
Okay.
and then you can look at the list.
You heard it here first.
And his name is
Myer.
Seth Green. The most difficult actor we have. Cool. Well, I think we're doing our panel soon, so you guys should come check it out. We're going to show some little teases.